Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I'm so sorry we're late. We had some Mercury retrograde problems, but we're so glad to be here. Oh, and let's go live in the group. Of course, we're live in 5D daily as well. And Kerri, you won't be able to see those comments, but
Okay.
I'll be able to see them unless you use your phone or something. So here we are.
Right,
We're
cool.
live. And we're live in some other places too. Okay, so now I just have to. Okay, so everyone, this is Kerri Mouch. She's at Sensory Healing for the Soul. I'm sure that you have seen her around. She was also in tag team for a long time, and so she's always on the 5D Daily page with her beautiful sound healing. So hi.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
That's so nice to have you. And the podcast that I did this week, I just absolutely loved it. I was so happy. I've watched it like several times. I just, it's like we talked about these things about aligning with love, and it was all things that, of course, I already knew, but just talking about it, I feel like the podcast in itself is a very healing podcast, just listening to it. And I loved it. I listened to it a bunch of times. Which led me to realize that there was a whole lot of mistakes. So then I uploaded a second version. That's what happens when you edit and you have a 13-year-old who talks a lot. I missed a whole lot of things.
Yes.
So everyone's here. Okay. So we talked in the podcast, 5D channels and chats, which you guys totally have to watch. We talked a lot about coming into joy, coming into what did we talk about? Just releasing fear.
Yes. Aligning to love.
Aligning to love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here it is. This was the topic: releasing fear, truly aligning to love.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, you guys can watch that. And if you have questions, of course, we want to answer them. And then we talked a lot about manifestation, how like everything is manifestation. Everything comes together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought today we could talk about simple ways to listen to your spirit guides, like to raise your vibration or receive the message, things like that.
So you want me just to say one?
I don't know. Well, the first thing I could say is like, well, one thing you talked about that I loved was something I say too. It's like how you can just check in. How do you feel? How do you feel in this moment?
Oh, absolutely.
Like if you're on the computer and you're like, damn it, no, you're an asshole, then that's probably not going to make you feel good. Like, stop. Why am I responding to this troll? Like, stop.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's one of the things that can quickly get me back into myself is just breathing, stepping away from the situation and just breathing in, breathing out, tuning into my energy and not what's outside of me, just returning to center.
Yeah. Just taking that moment, or even, if you need something physical, take your shoes off, go outside, walk in the grass, connect to Gaia, connect to your higher self. What I always do is I just think going deep into the earth, connecting to Gaia. You don't have to see or know anything. You can just intend. Connecting to my higher self above, bringing in the light, opening. One thing I've been getting a lot lately is like how we need to just check in if we are receiving at this moment, or if we're not. And then if we're receiving, if where we might feel a little stuck, to release and open.
No, absolutely. And I do feel like just in general, there's a lot of energy that's been coming in lately to the whole planet. And it does get stuck a bit. And I think because a lot of us are receiving it into our bodies and just like holding it, and then it just gets tension. And so a lot of times when we're getting these upgrades and we're working through stuff, it's really important to move the energy through the body, like you said, into the earth, send it into the earth. So you're more like a vessel than just holding it like a container. It's moving through you, but you're not containing it.
I feel like your dog is really resonating with what you're saying and like doing those growls. Like,
yeah, sorry. Yeah, she's just, there's a UPS truck. Oh. I didn't know she loud.
She was agreeing with you, like,
she's sending that little love vibration. She'll do that from time to time.
Well, she's being very good.
There are 2 of them, golden retrievers.
Okay. There's 2 are they both at your feet right now?
Right in front of my desk. Yes. They're looking out the window.
They're helping you ground. They're out there.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm sure dogs do that a lot.
That's another good way to come back into yourself. Pet an animal.
Yeah. Or your plant.
Absolutely.
Hello, little plant.
Very nice.
What do you have to say to me today?
Sometimes I have, and I can't.
It said water me.
Yeah. Sometimes I have like just a little, singing bowl, and I'll strike the bowl just to, I don't have, this is not the right striker, but, I'll just hit the bowl and let that ring, and just hearing the sound. I mean, I'm very much into sound healing, obviously, but sometimes just striking a bowl like that can just be like, oh, that just does something to the vibration, resets a little bit, gets you out of your thinking brain.
Yeah.
I also have a lot of crystals around me when I'm working. If I know I have a lot of computer work, I have a lot of, a lot. Oh, you can't see all the stuff on the side. Okay, sorry. If I turn that, see my shelf with all my crystals, and a lot more behind me, but definitely helping to hold the space for me if I'm getting out of my head,
Yeah. Just take a break. I mean, it's something that people always say, well, just take a break. Take a break, go outside. It's like we have this thing, and I was like, I got to do all this stuff before I forget. Right. Honestly, I've got 17 pieces of paper here that look like this. Like,
well, and I think too, yeah. It's like sometimes we're thinking so much about what happened in the past or what happened in the future. Again, getting back just to the whole concept of getting in the present moment and into yourself instead of whatever else is going on. And look, we all have stuff to do. We've all got things that have to get done, but it really is okay and better if you take a step out, like take a step right on out of whatever you're doing and just breathe and center yourself. To me, allows me to finish what I'm doing, with confidence and with more patience and being more centered. I've been really working on that daily, is starting the day from a place of love. When you put your feet on the floor, instead of thinking, oh gosh, my back's going to hurt, or, oh gosh, what do I have to do today that I don't want to do? Instead, the first breath I take, I think, I am going to be full of love today. I'm going to share love with other people. And that immediately, just that little bit shifts your whole morning, which shifts your whole day.
Yeah.
It's been very
powerful. You know what? Making an intention for the day is really, really so powerful. Some of my favorite intentions are to play with the universe a little bit. Like, hey, what are you going to show me today about how I'm manifesting? Or what are you going to show me today? How are you going to show me love today? Like, I'm going to go out into the world. Like, I was just saying this on my last live. Like, what are you expecting today? Are you expecting, like, when you go to wherever you have to go, that there's going to be like annoying people and you're going to have to deal with all that stuff? Or are you going to say, hey, today I'm going to that place where in the past I've experienced all this annoying stuff, but today I would love to experience a moment of true love and a lot of happiness. And then you'll go and you'll be like, wow, you know what? Yeah. Today I have to go to the back to school party. And I don't know if any of you have kids, but sometimes these things, like with parents, they're so awkward. Yeah. It's like, it's the worst. My husband's like, oh no, I can't go. I've got this errand. It's going to take me way too long. Thanks. Yeah. So I'm going to go, and I'm like, okay, so right now I'm just going to make the intention that it's going to be so fun. It's not going to have any awkwardness. I'm going to hang out with my friend Laura, and everything's going to be super fun. I'll be glad I went. Yeah.
And I've done the same thing. Like I had jury duty a couple months ago, and who really wants to go to jury duty? And yes, I was on a jury, and it was a murder trial. It was atrocious. But instead of like, at first I was like, oh, crumpling, because who wants to sit in that and listen to that all day? But instead of waking up and thinking, oh gosh, I have to go and hear all that low vibe stuff and be around these low vibe people that talk about that all day. I don't live in that world, and I don't want to live in that world. But instead of having a negative thought about it, I was like, well, there's a reason I'm doing this. Maybe I can go into that space. I'm going to take a lot of crystals with me, and I'm going to just send love to every single person in that courtroom. I can do Reiki. I can send love. Maybe I can just play a little game with myself and see how many people can I send love to in this room right now? How many people need love right now? And I did that like the whole day, every day. And I'm telling you, that's what helped me get through it, because it was not a very high vibrational space. But just thinking of it that way allowed me not to get caught up in some of the darker things that were around me. It didn't affect me maybe as much as it might have affected some of the other people. So I think it's really your perspective and your intention is very, very powerful.
That's so cool, because you took a situation which was, super inconvenient. Yeah. And instead you turned it into a service for the world. I bet that you really helped a lot of people in there.
Well, I mean, my guides did tell me, they're like, because I was like, why, what did I do to deserve, and they're like, well, you need to be there because you're supposed to spread light. That's your job. You hold light and you spread that. And, today it's your turn. Like, I'm not the only one that does this. Maybe I'm doing it consciously, but that was my turn. And the next week, somebody else is going to go in there and have a turn. But they show me it's kind of a collective thing, and everybody, takes a turn to do something. And that was the purpose of me going. So when I got that message, I was like, okay, I can do this.
That just gave me a great idea. What if, for anyone who is thinking about going to see your family in Thanksgiving or December, and you're worried about how you might be judged in many ways, that you instead make the intention that you'll just be the light and hold love and forgiveness for everyone, no matter what the things they're thinking, knowing that that's about them, not about you. And see how that changes things. I'll take my advice.
Absolutely. No, and I've done that before. Not that I was personally worried, but I know, all families have situations and things, and just knowing, that people were going to be in the same place that might not have been very comfortable. I would send Reiki, send love, intention beforehand, and then during, because I think another way that's it's easy to quickly spiral outside of a high vibration is when people come to you to gossip or say something negative about someone else. And a lot of times, I know in my past, I would jump on that and be like, I know, right? Oh my gosh. And I'd just spiral in that conversation. But then, I've become aware of how that really doesn't help anybody to do that. And it's only lowering your vibration in the person that you're talking to and the person you're talking about. So I do notice that whenever somebody does approach me like that, I try to shift it, or at least, well, I know they're going through a lot, or, I'm just sending them love. I'll say I'm sending them love. And they're like, you are? I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh, that's a great way to shut it down. I'm going to try that next time.
And then they're like, oh, you're sending them love. Well, I didn't know I could send them love. Sometimes it kind of starts a conversation, and, then they start to do what you're doing instead of you start to do what they're doing. You spiral it the other way.
You know what? I'm going to try that, because what I normally do is just like Reiki bomb the whole situation and try to get them to like stop saying horrible things about other people. But maybe I'll try that.
Okay. Oh, I see, Jessica, you're talking about a wedding. Overwhelmed all the families. No, for sure. That weddings will bring things out with families, absolutely. But send love to all of it. And I know when the people start talking about each other, don't engage in that. Just, you got to not engage. Even if sometimes we do agree with what they're saying, we have to disengage from that and see every single person in the world is divine and has the light of source of God within them. And so if we can just constantly redirect ourselves back to that thought, then that helps us not to spiral in a negative way.
Yeah. Miriam says, what to expect from them after sending love?
I don't expect anything. I mean, me sending the love is not about expectations of changing their behavior. That's about my perspective. If I shift my own perspective to sending love to all the time, it doesn't matter what they do. They can do whatever they want, because I'm anchored in love. And so if they're going to do something negative, it doesn't affect me. I'm anchoring in love.
But also when you change your vibration, people react to your vibration.
Yes, they do.
So if you're having a lot of reaction to your vibration, then it could be that, you expect it. It happened last time and you expect this time it's going to be that again. Or it could be other things, or it could be old hurts. When you're sending love, then maybe you haven't finished releasing all that, but that should change the vibration where other people will react differently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've changed relationships in my family just from doing that, from instead of being antagonistic with each other, seeing the light in the other person and just always, and it's hard work at first, especially because when you do have old wounds to come up and to heal. And as you're working through that, you have to retell yourself again and again, this is a child of God. This is a child of God, but it gets easier and easier. And then it really does create shifts. It's really impressive.
It does. Yeah. Tracy says you raise your frequency and consciousness by sending love and light.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
And also
people around you.
I'd like to say to Jessica about the being overwhelmed about her wedding coming up. What you can do is just spend a few minutes or seconds a day visualizing your wedding and like how you would want it to go. Like perhaps you could just visualize what it feels like where everyone's just like, oh, I love this wedding. What a beautiful time for this couple. And that's their conversation. They're just surrounding you with love and there's no, or stuff like that. It's just like, well, I'm just so glad to be here. If you think about that enough, you will make it happen. Or at least everywhere you go, that will be happening.
And remembering why you're there. It's a beautiful celebration of love. I mean, turn it back to why are we here? We're here for the couple that is in love, that is starting a new life together. And that's beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We get caught up in the drama of the wedding and the planning. I know. Been there, done that.
I remember. Yeah. 20 years ago, but I remember.
Right. Me too. I think we got married around the same time.
Did we? Yeah. It's 20 years this year.
20 years for me next year. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 19. So close. Hey, Mindy. Thank you.
Yeah. Mindy says, I love your sound healings. Yeah. And then 5D Daily Facebook group. Kerri is always sharing her sound healings in there, and I love it too. I'm like, ooh, there's another angel today. Who is it?
You never know.
Kerri and I are going to do a New Year's Eve sound bath in Baton Rouge. If you guys are there, it's going to be on New Year's Eve at 1:00. And then you can, go home and do whatever it is that you like to do for New Year's Eve.
Speaking of releasing the old and welcoming in the new.
Yeah, I love to do New Year's Eve healings. They're so fun. Yeah. Oh, here's a question. What if you're basking in love internally and having a good day and some people start criticizing you or being mean to you?
Oh, yes. No, that definitely happens. And it's, or even if they're not criticizing or being mean, they just come in with a very loud negative energy. And I'm like, oh, I was doing so good. And then you're just kind of like all over me. That's challenging. I'm not going to lie. I struggle with that too. But if someone is being mean to me and it hurts me, that's me allowing them to hurt me. I don't have to allow that. So I'm just going to stay in love about it. And it does take a bit of letting go and not worrying about what that other person thinks or says or does. And because, when we get triggered by other people being mean or, we increase that energy when we give that energy. So,
and think about it that they don't like your energy, right?
Exactly.
You're in beautiful energy and they're not. And so they're trying to destroy it. So what does that say about them? It doesn't say that they're really being mean. They might even feel bad about saying something mean. They're in a self-spiral of negative, and you can stop and be like, I've been like that before.
Right.
That sucks. And I think Spirit is also saying this. You could just take a minute, like don't respond. Take a minute and be silent. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
And maybe say, hey, are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I'm sending you love. Are you okay? Are you having a bad day?
Yeah.
And send them love and then just exit if you have to. Sometimes it really is. I mean, not sometimes. It really is about them. We take everything really hard.
Yeah.
But it really is them and their experience,
No, I agree. And even like, I know a lot of us are married, maybe not all of us, but people have been in relationships with a significant other. And when you start to fight, you ratchet each other up. So if one person starts coming that, like, my husband comes in and he wants to be mad at something, and I don't engage in that. Like, I'll have a conversation, but I won't get angry. The calmer I am, sometimes I would notice he would get angrier because I was so calm, you know? But over time that shifted, and it's like, okay, wait a minute. We both don't need to get up there. We can be calm and talk about, even if it's something that, you do need to discuss, you're not agreeing, you're seeing eye to eye or whatever. We can have those conversations without it spiraling into something, like an argument. You can still hold the light and hold the love there. And it does take time to create shifts, but it's a practice. It's a constant everyday practice.
Well, it's a practice too of not reacting.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's hard not to react. Every time you have these interactions, you can just chalk it down to your spirit guides are testing you to teach you not to react, but to come from love. And it is the biggest lesson.
Yes.
It is the biggest lesson. I am working so hard to be able to do that, so that when I do go home and I have, the sibling who thinks, that I work with the devil or whatever, that I'll be able to stay in love and understand that that's their path and experience, and that's okay. It doesn't really have anything to do with me. And to just send them love and let it go and not get triggered, So that's what I've been working on this week a lot. And that's why I just listened to us talking about it so many times on the podcast. And each time I got more insight, like on the whole situation. I was like, that's what I'm going to do.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yay.
And it's interesting. It's really hard to rail against someone who is just like calm and like, you can do it for a little bit if you're, but usually, usually you'll find if that's happening, like if you can't, if that's really, you might have an attachment, but you could do that for a little bit, but it's hard to sustain. Like if someone is just like, okay, I'm sorry that you're having such a hard time, or, I can see that you feel that way.
Right.
That's a great answer. Right. I can see that you feel that way.
Right. No, but it's true, Rachel. When you hold that calm, that they have nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go because they're just trying to incite something. And if you don't play, then they'll find someone else to play.
Yeah. Well, and you might be shifting their energy too, maybe they're ready.
That's the hope. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the hope. But
you're sending love. I'm sending you love. And
right.
It's kind of hard to be mad at someone who's sending you love.
What is? I'm reading a comment.
Oh, wait, I'm gonna put it up. Yeah, it's JoJo. Here we go. I'll put it up in here. So
I can't see the whole thing. Can you see the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it up. Here we go. It just takes a second. I have to do that for these other ones. Okay, so JoJo says, yesterday I met a harmless but shouty soliloquy complaining neighbor man, and I sometimes get nervous to give loving kindness in those situations, but I did remember to do angel, light, divine, be. That's a switch words. Oh, good. He didn't even notice I was muttering it. It's uncomfortable to stay longer in conversations than you want.
But why were you nervous to send love? Why does sending love make you nervous?
That's a very good question, actually. Are we sometimes coming from a place of worried about what the outcome will be of like from past trauma, too open? She says, I don't know, too open. Yeah.
If you're being too open, well, but I'm not giving of my energy when I send love. I'm not exchanging energy with people. I'm just in general sending love out into the world. I'm not receiving anybody's energy back. It's just
I understand this. If you have some past experience of people coming after you in any way, or like stalking or things like that, then that kind of thing can be a little trigger. So then I guess you look at your trigger on that.
Well, okay, but I may not be engaging with a person. Like I can send love walking through the grocery store and maybe only talk to the cashier,
That's true.
I can just send love to everybody in the building. I don't have to talk to them. I don't have to have a conversation. I don't have to make eye contact.
That's right. JoJo, just back away and send that.
Right. I can send love to the people in the cars around me when they're making very interesting decisions on the road. I don't have to see them or talk to them or, get involved in gestures. I can just send them I can just send them all love. I don't have to have a back and forth. What?
Oh, this is great. Why do
we look so much like I don't know. Why do we? Is it an energetic thing?
I don't know. I mean, we're from the same town. We went to college together.
Does that mean we have shared family lineage?
We even worked at the same place when we reconnected, and I didn't even realize it. Singing. Yeah, we have the same career. I don't know.
When you know people for a long time, you start to look like them.
Maybe we're related. We don't even know.
Well, we both are from South Louisiana.
Yeah, I mean, we could be.
Family trees are often.
Your faces are like mirrors. That's so interesting. Yeah. Okay.
That's interesting.
All right. I know you probably have to go. So
yeah.
But let's do this one last question from Christina, and then here we go from Christina. Here we go. She says, I'm a fierce mama bear. I have a mother-in-law that has little to do with my children, even though we allowed her to move on our property. It constantly upsets my children as they see her daily, but she makes no effort. It's incredibly hard to watch the kids hurt. How can I support my children outside of loving them?
I would definitely send love to her and, helping. I mean, I don't know the ages of your children, but I do talk to my children about things like that. And I say, if somebody is acting in a certain way, and I'm like, look, this is when my kids talk about the bus driver. They hate the bus driver. She's so mean. I'm like, you know what? Let's think about it from her perspective, or think about it from the mother-in-law's perspective. What is her life like? What is she going through? She might be having a really hard time. And when you're tired or cranky or having a bad day, and sometimes you say things you don't mean, or you act in a certain way that isn't really loving. Well, when people are going through a rough time, sometimes they behave a certain way. So we just want to send her love, and hopefully she can feel better. And then maybe she'll change her behavior later, but we're just going to send her love and hope, for the best.
That she doesn't even show up for their birthday. Like, why wouldn't...
I know, that's fine.
Why? I mean, she's on your property and she doesn't come to the birthday. Like, what would be going on inside her that she wouldn't come? Like, that's got to be... there's got to be something. But, when it comes to that with my kid, we talk about it. Like... Mm-hmm. We're actually very, very honest. Like, that's not, like, he'll ask us, like, why does this person say this, but you guys say this? It's like, because this is what happened, and this is not true.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes people make up their own reality to be able to deal with their past. And it's, we're just really, really honest.
Yeah. Well, and I do try to tell, like, when I talk to my kids, it's trying to help them to understand not always to judge people that are hurt or afraid or in pain. Those people are the ones that lash out or react to things or say or do hurtful things because they are in pain. It's not necessarily directed at each of us individually. And I think that's something that children, or even adults, sometimes it's hard to know that, that's not about me, actually. It's about them. So I need to let that go and not take that on.
And it can be a lesson to your kids, about your reality and about, how what you say and do affects your reality. If someone is not nice to you, then you're not going to, make things easy for them to be in your life, because it's hard. So that's a lesson in consequences.
Right. And Jen, this is so true right here. Yeah.
Oh gosh, you work at a bank. I can't imagine.
Yeah. Sometimes they can't take your high vibe. And so they they want it to go away. So they react.
Have you ever heard someone say, oh, that person, she's just so sunny? My God, I would think you would like that, but okay.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Well, I know Kerri has to go, but you guys can find Kerri at sensoryhealingforthesoul.com, and she does do online work as well as in person in Baton Rouge, and she does monthly sound baths, which are amazing. I miss all the sound baths we used to do together, and I'm excited about the one we're doing.
We have one coming up.
I know. I'm so excited about it. It's like the highlight of my trip for sure.
Yay.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. And thanks for coming, Kerri.
You're welcome. Everybody, have a beautiful day. Sending you all lots of love.
Lots and lots of love for all of you. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.